What is color theory in design? Color theory is the study of how colors interact with each other and how they affect our perception. It covers color relationships, color harmony, and the psychological impact of color. So let's start diving into this world. Colors can be classified as either primary, secondary, or tertiary. Primary colors, yellow, blue, and red, are the fundamental hues from which all other colors are derived. Secondary colors result from mixing equal amounts of two primary colors. Green, orange, and purple are examples of secondary colors. For example, green is the color of combining yellow and blue. Tertiary colors result from combining a primary color with a neighboring secondary color. Yellow-green, blue-green, and blue-violet are examples of tertiary colors. This is a fundamental classification in the world of color theory, but there are other ways to classify colors. They can be classified as warm or cool based on their temperature. Warm colors like reds, oranges, and yellows evoke feelings of comfort, warmth, and coziness. Cool colors like blue, green, and purples evoke feelings of calmness, serenity, and professionalism. Colors can also be represented through color models. They are essential for describing and reproducing colors in a standard way. Frequently used color models include the RGB model, the HSV model, and the HSL model. They represent colors based on different properties. You will learn more about them in future lectures. Great, now that you know more about this, let's talk about a fundamental tool that designers use to represent colors and their relationships. The color wheel is a circular diagram that shows how colors relate to each other. It's an essential tool for designers because it helps them select color combinations. This is very helpful for creating color palettes and color schemes. A color scheme is the set of colors chosen for a specific design or project. They are usually based on the principles of color theory. By understanding the relationships between colors on the wheel, set of colors chosen for a specific design or project. They are usually based on the principles of color theory. By understanding the relationships between colors on the wheel, you can develop different types of color schemes. Let's see some of them. Analogous color schemes create cohesive and smoothing experiences. They have analogous colors which are adjacent to each other in the color wheel. This is an example with 3 adjacent colors in the color wheel that create visual harmony. Complementary color schemes create high contrast and visual impact. Their colors are located on the opposite ends of the color wheel, relative to each other. Color contrast is essential for web accessibility. It ensures that text and other important elements are clearly distinguishable from their background. This is especially important for people with visual disabilities. Here you can see an RGB color wheel. Complementary colors are located at the opposite ends of the wheel. For example, magenta is complementary to green and blue is complementary to yellow, and so on. The triadic color scheme has vibrant colors. They are made from colors that are approximately equidistant from each other. If they are connected, they form an equilateral triangle on the color wheel, like you can see in this example. And finally, we have the monochromatic color scheme. In this color scheme, all the colors are derived from the same base color by adjusting its lightness, darkness, and saturation. This evokes a feeling of unity and harmony, while still creating contrast. This is an example based on the color red. The other colors result from adjusting the lightness, darkness, and saturation of the base red color. And finally, here are some tips for using colors effectively in web development. Create a color scheme that defines your website's branding. Use colors to evoke the emotions and perceptions that align with your goals. Choose colors with enough contrast to make your website accessible for everyone. Use colors to highlight important elements of your website, like buttons. Use color consistently and use it to create a visual hierarchy. Color theory is a core aspect of design. By understanding color psychology, harmonies, and accessibility, you can create effective designs, evoke emotions, and enhance user experience. Tertiary colors and the psychological impact of color. So let's start diving into this world. Colors can be classified as either primary, secondary, or tertiary. Primary colors, yellow, blue, and red, are the fundamental hues from which all other colors are derived. Secondary colors result from mixing equal amounts of two primary colors. Green, orange, and purple are examples of secondary colors. For example, green is the color of combining yellow and blue. Tertiary colors result from combining a primary color with a neighboring secondary color. Yellow-green, blue-green, and blue-violet are examples of tertiary colors. This is a fundamental classification in the world of color theory, but there are other ways to classify colors. They can be classified as warm or cool based on their temperature. Warm colors like reds, oranges, and yellows evoke feelings of comfort, warmth, and coziness. Cool colors like blue, green, and purples evoke feelings of calmness. What are named colors in CSS and when to use them? In CSS, colors play a crucial role in designing web pages, enhancing readability, setting the mood, and improving user experience. One of the simplest ways to define colors in CSS is by using named colors. Named colors are predefined color names recognized by browsers. Here's an example of using a named color for a paragraph element. In this example, we are using the named color red to style the text in a paragraph. Here's the result on the screen. Named colors in CSS are a collection of 140 standard color names like red, blue, yellow, aqua, fuchsia, and black. These names are simple to use and make your code more readable, and they are self-descriptive. Named colors are useful for quick prototyping, simple designs, and improving code readability. Here's another example of using named colors for an H1 selector. In this example, the heading text will be styled in navy with a light gray background. The readability of the code improves since named colors provide an immediate visual understanding of the intended style. Here is the result on the screen. Named colors in CSS are convenient but limited, with only 140 available options. They may not offer the precise shade needed for more detailed designs. Named colors in CSS are a great way to apply colors quickly and descriptively. While they are useful for basic designs, prototyping, and improving code readability, their limited range makes them less suitable for complex designs requiring precise color control. By understanding the strengths and limitations of named colors, you can determine when it's best to use them over more detailed color models like RGB or HSL, which you will learn about in future videos. What is the RGB color model, and how does the RGB function work in CSS? When working with colors in CSS, understanding the RGB color model is essential. RGB stands for red, green, and blue, the primary colors of light. These three colors are combined in different intensities to create a wide range of colors. The RGB color model is an additive color model, which means colors are created by combining light at varying intensities. The intensity of each color can range from 0, which means no light, to 255, which means full light. By mixing different levels of red, green, and blue, you can produce any color you see on your screen. For example, black is represented by RGB 000, which means no light for any of the three colors. White is represented by RGB 255, 255, 255, which means full light intensity for all three colors. Red is represented by RGB 25500, with full intensity for red and none for green and blue. In CSS, the RGB function allows you to define colors using the RGB color model. The function takes three values, each representing the intensity of red, green, and blue light, respectively. Here is the basic syntax. The values for red, green, and blue can range from 0 to 255, where 0 represents the absence of that color and 255 represents full saturation. Here's an example of how you might use the RGB function in CSS. This code would change the text color of the paragraph to red because the red value is set to 255, while green and blue are set to 0. Here's the result on screen. CSS also provides the RGBA function, which adds a fourth value.
Okay, so okay, like my song was not okay. Now it's good. What I was saying, I said I consider myself as a beginner. Like I never took I never took programming seriously. That's why I restarted it and I just want to learn. I want to like go deeply inside the notion. I want to learn HTML CSS first, then continue with JavaScript, then like all web developer do. But I have little knowledge on HTML, CSS. No, deep knowledge on HTML, CSS, little knowledge on JavaScript, little knowledge on Python, little knowledge on Django, little knowledge on C. I did that in school. Also, little knowledge on my SQL. Like, I have my profile here, my GitHub profile. Like, I started learning programming since 2022, but I was just dancing. Like, I learned C in school, HTML, CSS, I started since 2022. Python, I just did the CS50 Python, that program lays, but I've not yet finished it. Django, I did some little project like an e-commerce site, but I'd never finished it. jQuery, like the same thing. PHP, yes, I did a full, not a full stack, but a full project with PHP and MySQL. It was a banking system. Git, yes, I'm using Git every day. Like there's just the notion, but I don't have like precise notion. I'm not. I can say I'm a beginner. I'm just starting to learning use things like HTML, CSS, everything. And now I'm just following this course on freeCodeCamp. Like I want to create cool stuff. I'm just following this course for the moment. I'm going to see what I'm going to do next. But for the moment, I'm just doing this full stack developer curriculum. And that's what are you living on another platform? Meaning learning platform. I don't really understand your question. When I say, are you living on another platform? Learning platform or what?
Alpha, that controls the transparency of the color. The alpha value ranges from 0, completely transparent, to 1, completely opaque. Here's an example of using RGBA. This code would apply a semi-transparent blue background to a div element because the red and green values are set to 0. The blue value is set to 255 and the alpha value is set to 0.5, 50% transparency. Here's the results on screen. The RGB color model is especially useful for digital media because it directly corresponds to how screens display colors. Monitors and displays use tiny red, green, and blue pixels to create the colors you see. By controlling the intensity of these pixels through RGB values, you can achieve a wide range of colors for your web design.
Like
Additionally, the RGB model is ideal when working with dynamic designs.
I'm just trying.
For instance,
but
if you want to create animation for color effects that require real-time changes, the flexibility of the RGB function allows you to modify colors programmatically. By understanding the RGB color model and how to use the RGB and RGBA functions in CSS, you'll have greater control.
I just want to make programming videos, going live, sharing my journey, like all this. That's what it. Twitch is just for fun. I'm just also trying to show my face. But for live, I'm currently on Twitch also. Like just started Twitch this morning because all the beginning I was just going live on YouTube. All my life all my streaming are all on YouTube. Just this 1 year currently on Twitch.
Over how colors are displayed on your web pages. You can create vibrant designs, transparency, and even programmatically adjust colors for dynamic effects.
One number of RGB function red, green, blue. This is control the transparency of the color. Okay, the motion RGB 25. Oh no, okay. When you said I was mentioning like what,
What is the HSL color model and how does the HSL function work in CSS? When styling websites, one of the most versatile and intuitive ways to work with color is by using the HSL color model. HSL stands for hue, saturation, and lightness, 3 key components that define a color. the HSL color model represents colors in the way that is more in line with how humans perceive color. In this lecture, we'll explore what the HSL color model is and how the HSL function is used in CSS. The hue is the color type, represented as an angle on the color wheel, which ranges from 0 to 360 degrees.
I don't really like this.
For example, 0 degrees represents red, 120 degrees is green, and 240 degrees is blue. By adjusting the hue, you shift through different colors on the spectrum. Saturation refers...
I don't really understand, like... like just a it's so difficult for me to understand this part. I don't know why. Anytime I'm learning, I'm like always confused. Saturation lightness, yes. Okay.
To the intensity or purity of the color. It is measured as a percentage from 0%, a completely desaturated grayscale color, to 100%, the most vibrant form of that color. A color with 100% saturation is fully vivid, while a color with 0% saturation appears as a shade of gray. Lightness determines how light or dark the color is, again measured as a percentage. A lightness value of 0% will produce black. 50% will give you the normal tone of the hue, and 100% will result in white. In CSS, the HSL function is used to define colors using the HSL color model. Here is the basic syntax. Let's break this down with an example. In this case, the hue is 120 degrees, which corresponds to green. The saturation is 100%, so the green will be fully vivid.
How do you know that so this hue corresponds to where's the word? 260 is red. Okay, 120 is green. 240 is blue. Check. Okay, this something I need to keep in mind. Okay.
The lightness is 50%, so it's at its normal tone, neither too dark nor too light. As a result, the text color of the paragraph will be a bright green. Here is the result on screen. One of the main advantages of the HSL color model is its intuitive nature. It makes it easy to adjust a color's vibrancy or lightness by tweaking the saturation and lightness values without having to alter the core color, hue. For instance, if you want to create different shades or tints of the same color, you can simply adjust the lightness value. Here, both div elements are using the same hue, 240 degrees, which is blue, but one has a lightness of 80%, a lighter shade of blue, and the other has a lightness of 20%, a darker shade of blue. Here's the result on screen. Just like the RGB model has a RGBA function to include transparency, the HSL model has an HSLA function. The fourth parameter in this function represents the alpha value, which controls the opacity of the color. Here is the basic syntax. Let's take a look at an example. This code would give the div a semi-transparent red background, where the hue is set to 0 degrees, red, saturation is 100%, lightness is 50%, and alpha is 0.5, 50% opacity. Here's the result on screen. The HSL color model is particularly useful when you need to create color schemes and adjust shades or tints easily. Because HSL separates the hue from saturation and lightness, you can keep a consistent color theme while tweaking lightness for shadows or highlights. This level of flexibility makes HSL a favorite for designers and developers alike. Additionally, HSL makes color values more readable and understandable when compared to other methods like hex codes or RGB. you can more clearly see the intent behind the color and adjust accordingly, especially when experimenting with different designs. With the HSL color model, you gain more flexibility in controlling color tones, saturation, and lightness, making it a powerful tool for creating rich and dynamic designs in CSS.
Okay. Preset. Je 100 like set 100% GUI 0% block. Okay.
What are hex color values and how do they work in CSS? When working with CSS to style a web page, one of the most common methods for defining colors is by using hex color values. Hexadecimal color values or hex codes are a concise way to represent colors in the RGB color model. In this lecture, we'll explore what hex codes are, how they work in CSS, and when to use them. The hex code, short for hexadecimal code, is a 6-character string used to represent colors in the RGB color model. The hex refers to the base 16 numbering system, which uses digits 0 to 9 and letters A to F. In the context of colors, hex codes specify the amount of red, green, and blue, RGB, that makes up a particular color. Each hex code starts with a hash symbol, followed by 6 characters that define the intensity of red, green, and blue in the color. For example, the hex code for black is hash 000000, and the hex code for white is hash FFFFFF. The first 2 characters represent the red value, the next 2 represent green, and the last 2 represent blue. In CSS, you can apply colors to elements by using hex codes. Here's the basic syntax. Here, hash RRGGBB is a placeholder for the actual hex code. The RR, GG, and BB pairs each represent the intensity of red, green, and blue, respectively. These pairs can range from 00, the lowest intensity, to FF, the highest intensity. The higher the number, the more of that color will be present in the final mix. For example, let's apply some hex colors to a few elements. In the first case, hash FF5733 is a reddish-orange color. Here's the breakdown. FF is the highest value for red, fully saturated. 57 is a moderate amount of green. 33 is a small amount of blue. In the second case, hash 4C AF50 is a shade of green. 4C is a low value for red. AF is a strong value for green. 50 is a moderate value for blue. Here's the result on screen. Hex codes are popular because they are precise and easy to use. They allow you to fine-tune your colors, making them ideal for designs where consistency is important. Most design software, such as Adobe Photoshop or Figma, provides hex codes for the colors you select, which makes it easy to copy and paste these values directly into your CSS files. In web development, hex codes are often used for defining text colors, backgrounds, borders, and other visual elements. For example, this ensures your colors remain consistent across your entire website or application. Here's the result on screen. In some cases, you may notice hex codes written in shorthand format, using only 3 characters instead of 6. This is possible when both characters in each color pair are the same. For instance, hash FF5733 could not be shortened, but hash FFFFFF white could be written as hash FFF. The shortened hash FFF is equivalent to hash FFFFFF. Similarly, hash 000 would represent black, which is hash 000000 in full form. Hex codes are popular for their precision and compatibility, allowing for over 16 million colors across all browsers. They're ideal when you need specific branding colors, want to control exact shades that aren't easily defined by named colors or HSL, or when you're copying colors from design software that provides hex codes by default.
I don't even know how do they do that. I don't even know. Like when I'm going to stream, just open OBS and just start. Like you say, disable donate option. Where can I even why can I enable that? Don't even say.
What are linear and radial gradients and how do they work in CSS? In a previous lecture, you learned how to start working with linear and radial gradients. In this video, we are going to dive deeper into how to work with the CSS properties to create more visually appealing and complex designs. Gradients in CSS allow you to create smooth transitions between two or more specified colors. They are often used to add depth, texture, and visual interest to the web designs without the need for image files. CSS supports two main types of gradients, linear gradients and radial gradients. Linear gradients create a gradual blend between colors along a straight line. You can control the direction of this line and the colors used. Here's a basic example of a linear gradient. This creates a gradient that transitions from red to the left to blue on the right. The toRight parameter specifies the direction of the gradient. You can use other types like toLeft, toTop, toBottom, or even specify angles like 45 degrees. Here is the result of the code on screen. You can also use multiple color stops in a linear gradient. This creates a gradient that transitions from red to yellow to blue, evenly spaced across the element. Here's the result of the code on screen. Radial gradients, on the other hand, create circular or elliptical gradients that radiate from a central point. Here's an example. This creates a circular gradient that starts with red in the center and transitions to blue on the edges. Here's the result of the code on screen. You can also specify the shape and size of radial gradients. This creates an elliptical gradient starting from the top left corner of the element. Here's the result of the code on screen. Both linear and radial gradients allow you to specify color stops at precise positions. For example, This creates a gradient where red takes up the first 20%, then transitions to yellow at 40%, and finally to blue at 80%. Here's the result of the code on screen. Gradients can be used wherever you'd use an image in CSS. This makes them versatile for creating backgrounds, buttons, or even text effects when combined with other CSS properties. Remember, while gradients can enhance the visual appeal of your websites, it's important to ensure sufficient contrast for accessibility, especially when using gradients behind text.
Like, Colin, I have a problem. I don't really understand how does this parameter work. Like, closes. It's a bit tricky. Okay, just. The angle of rotation for the now rotation tons. Which of these is not divided but the difference between this and that, like, I'm surprised. Okay, yes, I did this part things and the result was like come out with something like this. Now I have to do this part. The lab, in this lab you create like I have to do something similar to this. Okay, where's the problem? Okay. Set. Where's the folder? What's going on? Yeah. Okay. My PC is slow. Okay, that's my PC was slow. Okay, no, seriously. Okay. This. What's going on? I think my PC is slow. I have to close some tab here. Okay, let's see if it is. I have to do something like that. Yes. How can I select this? No. Okay. Okay. Yours is alt. Okay. Set. Let's see. Yes. The color. Okay. No, I did not understand. Color. No. just for okay, no. Contains with all. Okay. Separation color. I like orange red. What's going on? Like, just have to do something. Just for fun. Just see something cool. That's it. Okay, now let me copy my code. Just yes, now let verify. Okay. Now the review and then the test. Like I just have to. This is a topic that I really understand. CSS view, if I did have to do something to look at it. No, main branch, like seriously. Okay, yes. Non, this part. Bon. Confirm and submit. Now let us do this. Just colors. Okay. On the set, suppose agree you must have at least 18. Sure, this color system cannot be used to set a color in CSS. What is what's the primary color in the color theory? RGB, red, blue, red, green, blue. Like, what are the primary colors? What? Attends. Red, green, yellow, green, blue, purple, orange, green, purple, green, blue, yellow. I do have a correct answer like green, blue, purple, green, red. Is RGB as a primary color? White, green, blue, purple, yellow, green, red. No, this not yellow. This not green, blue, purple, yellow, green, blue, purple. There's no correct answer here. Yellow, blue. What's the primary color of inequalent? Yellow, blue, red. Why can I reset my answers? I don't want this one. Okay, but this is not the correct answer. I don't know. Which type of color is this? I don't really understand the color wheel. Difference is actually no, CSS. But it's green, red, green, blue, RGB, green, red, green, blue. Like seriously. Okay, bon, voyons bon. Which type of color should I don't really understand this, but maybe. Which type of color should we use? Color data adjacent to each color on the machine. Adjacent, that's a mono, that's a mix. By mixing equal part of two primary color. Secondary to primary color. What is the term for the color that are created by mixing two part of two colors? This is for the it's not specific on copy pick. So the phone is a valid text color. No, this one I like. This one. Exactly. This one red, this one at least two. Ouais, c'est ça. I'm just learning CSS. Currently, I'm not creating something precisely. Just learning CSS, doing the exercise. Okay. What is in here? It's not a valid way to apply linear gradient. Background linear gradient right. Okay. Which is not a valid way to apply linear gradient. Okay. I need to do something great. Which is not a valid way to apply a linear gradient. Ouais, c'est ça. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Pourquoi ça fait ça? Ok, bon. Saturation lightness. We should do animation. Good. What is the plasma? We should follow. Je vais juste fouiller quoi est-ce qu'ils ont. On a le top to bottom right. Top to bottom right. Top to bottom right to blue. Gradient. Bon. On va savoir radial gradient. Top to bottom. Start in. Colorées. Right. Linéaires. Just notation specific. No. Show the year 16. Like, I can't predict this. No. Like, I say, not a great answer. Okay. Wait. This one, there's no correct answer. It cannot be this one, it cannot be this one, it cannot be this one, it cannot be this one. Okay, correct. What type of solution is suggestion? Listen. Alors, je colore. Oh, je pense ça. Okay, let me retake this. Ok, concentrons-nous. Bon, c'est pas party, we show this color system cannot be used to set the color in CSS. This one, what's the primary color? There's no answer for this one. Yellow, green, red, no, yellow, blue, orange, green, purple, no, green, purple, green, blue, purple, no. Where's the machine? We should opposite. Yes, but this one, we show this type of machine is correct adjacent. It's not monocombination function. Fabriquer savoir. C'est thème for the color that mixing equal but secondary. Ok. On says risk. I don't understand. Is this a 1, 2, 3? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a character. Like I don't really understand. Okay. I show this one should specific transparent. Where it should be. What's the fully good? At least. What's not the first version? Green. Just not yes, this one, okay. Like this default. Like this one, c'est top to bottom. Top to bottom with top. Linear chain, no duration specified. Which chain. Okay, understand now. Bon, et voilà. Top to bottom with blue. Linear chain. Linear chain, no duration. Top to bottom. I'm not sure, but your question. Oh, c'est my sense of the question. Like there's no answer of two. Green, red, green, blue. What is the primary color in color theory? Green, red, green, blue. Red, blue, yellow, red, green, yellow, orange, green, purple, green, purple. Okay. No. No correct answer here. I don't really understand the question. Like finish. Okay, now let me see. This is the correct answer. What's the primary color? Yellow, blue, red. Like, okay, don't. Okay. What is this? Oh, red, yellow, blue. Okay. A traditional thought as primary color in painting, but they are not the most effective color for mixing a wide range of colors. For adjective color, red, okay, something to understand. Additional to as primary color in painting, but not the most effective. And in the subtraction color mode, which is used in painting and painting, the primary color CN, magenta, and yellow CMY. Okay, this one is for computers and television. I should be printing and painting traditional thought. Okay. Okay, now this is which one again? This one. What is the valid X color? Okay, this is a great answer. There's not a G. This is a great answer. Okay. Now that's it. Okay. Something like no, radial gradient. No direction. It is no direction. Okay. What to blue means that it was going to be this one. Oh. Okay. It's going to be this one. Okay. All right. Just like the best practice of styling fonts. Okay.
What are some best practices for styling text inputs? As with all text elements, you need to ensure the styles you apply to text inputs are accessible. This means the font needs to be adequately sized, and the color needs to have sufficient contrast with the background. The placeholder, however, is often forgotten. It's important to remember that this is also text, and you'll likely need to change the styling to ensure it's readable. Another thing to keep in mind is that you should allow the user to modify the input. For example, if it's a text area, you should not remove the ability to resize it. The input should also scale accordingly when the user zooms the page. Input elements are also focusable. When you are editing your styles, you should take care that you preserve a noticeable indicator when the element has focus, such as a bold border. Additionally, there is the error state to consider. When the user's text does not pass the input validation, there's a visual indicator that shows there is something wrong. As you give your element your personal flair, you want to be sure that state is still noticeable and that it does not look similar to the focus indicator. With all of this in mind, you can now create captivating user forms.
Okay.
When should you use appearance none to deal with issues styling search inputs and checkboxes? Let's learn when to use appearance none to address styling issues for search inputs, checkboxes, and radio buttons. Browsers apply default styling to a lot of elements. In the case of input elements, your ability to style them with CSS can feel rather restricted. So you may want to use appearance none to hide aspects of the default element and build your own instead.
Okay.
For example, this would hide the default checkboxes for a checkbox input, allowing you to use custom indicators like a green tick and a red X to show the state. For a search input, WebKit-based browsers will show a default search icon and cancel button. Hiding these allows you to create your own indicators that would appear on all browsers. WebKit is a software engine that helps web browsers display websites. Browsers like Safari use WebKit to make sure web pages look and work correctly. This appearance none CSS property gives you complete control over the styling, but it does come with some things to look out for. The default interactive components of input elements include features such as focus and error indicators, which you'll need to ensure aren't lost. Creating consistent cross-platform styling is a great reason to use this property. You can also use it to ensure that tap targets on a mobile device are large enough, or that the colors of a checkbox have enough contrast.
Okay. What are the issues?
Let's learn about some of the common issues when trying to style special input elements like the date, time, local, and color inputs. These special types of inputs rely on complex pseudo-elements to create things like the date and color pickers. This presents a significant challenge for styling these inputs. One challenge is that the default styling is entirely browser dependent. So the CSS you write to make the picker look the way you intend may be entirely different on another browser. Another might be the complexity of the pseudo element. Consider the date selector. There are a lot of moving parts here, and the complex structure of this pseudo element might pose a significant challenge in applying styling to the right areas. Of course, with these complex elements, you also run the risk of accidentally losing important functionality when you manually style them. Not only could you lose important indicators like the focus state or selected item, but you could potentially break the selector entirely. For these reasons, many developers rely on JavaScript libraries or custom components entirely, instead of using the browser's built-in components.
Okay. So, that's also well, okay. Okay. Great. Ich schaffe ich könnte min anhold hiervon. Ich schaffe van die könnte die within van element. Ich schaffe. Ich schaffe van maybe. this or don't see no like let me try some colors. What is going on? CSS. What's going on? Styliser. Okay, what's going on? Body. C'est syntaxe linéaire que dit. Mais c'est ça. Je comprends pas. Avant. Linéaire que dit. Direction. Fait des colors. Like. What next? Don't really understand. C'est fait. Merde. Non, mais c'est pas possible. Ok. Voyons voir. Pourquoi mon linéaire que j'ai ne répond pas? C'est quoi l'erreur? Bon, on avance. Div. Close. show the element h1 with the text. Okay, bon. Wait, what's going on? I don't really understand why it's okay. I was like, mais non, c'est clair. C'est parce my content was empty. Oh, my content is empty. Okay. Be more precise. Like, I'm just. Right. Okay. Now it's okay. Maintenant, ich zu text text area information color and have a body but reduce button the level should have matching on the font color matching on the font the input alright, let's go now. Like I said, display flex center align content center. Alright, now let this label for background color. Shadow. No. 5 pixel. No. Okay. Okay. Alright, now x axis, y axis, x, y. Oh, then. Oh, ça c'est y axis. X axis. Ok. the opacity, let me reduce the opacity. Alright, clean. Now let me start my phone. Text line center font size 1.5 small. So okay, family. What's the best? This one. No. Family. This one. No. This one. Too much of it. No. Okay, 2.5 here. Oh, long. 60. See what? Okay. No. No. It's too large. Okay. No. Minimum width. The minimum width would be. Okay. Let's just see. No. What's going on? Min width 2. Let's see. This one. No, that's a problem. Okay, max width. Like, okay. Max width. Alright. Now, I'll have to adjust the width. Okay. Max width, let me put it like 500 and see what. It's too large. 450. 50. Okay, perfect. Okay, bon. Okay, let's add some input. No, let's add some input. Text. Each one choose some text. Name, email. This is name, email, message. Okay. Quite easy. All right. Name, IT. What again? Name required. Now there will be a break here. Right. Matching button. Then 0.55. One split that. Alright. Now you have to separate point. Now text area. Label formula section. Set label. Text area should respond to label and for it. Okay. Search. Girl, like 1, 2, 3, 4. How many columns? Let's take 10. Small. 30. Je vais utiliser le CSS. Let me just do no. Yeah. Better. Oh, this piece. Okay. Nothing. Okay. Non-required. Next step, the button. Very separate. Okay. Time for CSS or the input element. Okay. %. Let's see what's good. Okay, pardon. Okay, with 100% height. Top bottom like 0.5 alright. Okay, now let us set to 1. The measure of marginal font color. Okay, and the input text I should have with pardon. Okay. And with pardon. Okay. Okay, div pardon, we just pardon. Okay, font size. Font size 1.2. Alright, not so small. Font width. No. 500. 600. No. 500. Is that different? is no difference, nothing. Okay, color. Just want to adjust it. Okay, now. Now from family. Margin button of something. Yes, great. Okay. Okay, bon. Great. Imagine the sum. All right. That's okay. All right, input button. No. Let me reduce the height. Okay. This is the input text here. Measure for the width button. Margin button here. The label show imagine on font color label here. The text font container. Use button width. Okay. Yes, no, the button. Background color green. Now background color green of the noon. Button so small. Like font size. No. Font size of one. Good. Wait. Okay. Which is wait. Now after 50%. Alright. 50. No. Space, like, let me reduce the height from right to 50. No. For 50. Things better. Okay. Let's see how it looks like. Something like that. Oh no. Now the whole effect. Okay. Quickly. background color white. Now the color green. Put two pixels, something like that. Now that's something which all. So 1 second is okay. Font with family something. No, let me use this font. Okay. What's going on? C'est quoi ça? Ok, ça. C'était mon quoi? Ok, let us space in 1 pixel. Oh. Alright, all good. Now let us test the code. Okay, copy. Something's going on. And they said within the phone you should have a button element with type submit. Okay. Your label should have a margin of font color. Margin on font color. Right, the text area should have a width button. Alright, I'll do it here. Button type. Submit. Let us says your label should have a margin and font color. Label. Margin. Like if I just I don't want it like that. Pourquoi il fait ça comme ça? C'est pas bien comme ça. Bon, margin. Just adjust it. Margin 0. Alright. Let us test if. Alright. Your text area should have a width button. Margin on the button. Text area width margin. Okay. So, margin button. This peut-être en soit display. Okay. This. Alright. Let's go. Okay. Review font. Oh. Cette appearance, non. J'ai oublié quelque chose. Just want to commit some of my changes. going to get c'est parce que c'est forcé, mais c'est appearance styling input using appearance known for input possible. So let's say one change is that before okay, let's go to the quiz. What is the common issue for studying the type local input type? Okay. Okay. So the following is considered by starting text input text input from current not então pois TikToks. What is the best practice for studying input in an error state? Study input. What is the best practice? No study input. No provision. It's important to use descriptive placeholder text in the form input. Why is it important? Automatically value input format. What is WebKit? WebKit is special service. No exception. It's a valid engine that is web page divided in that ensure that there is no validation in CSS. WebKit, it is a browser engine. Browser engine that ensure that there is what is the pictures of appearance now? Move default color element key. What does make excuse this situation. Okay. Input. Yes. 9 then something went wrong. Okay. What is WebKit? Don't know. WebKit is a web browser. It's a web browser engine used by Safari. What is the purpose? WebKit is a virtual developer thing for small web download. Okay. I understand. And the correct answer is it's a browser engine that displays web page. Alright. Submit the finish. Like commands. Okay. 5.32. Oh, okay. I think I would like just end for today. I'm just tired. Bon, je pense que ça serait mieux de retirer, je sais pas trop. Je vais regarder un truc. Bon, aujourd'hui c'était quand même attractif, donc je pense. Oh, je vais m'arrêter là aujourd'hui. I think I'll end here today. I'm just like tired, so. Bon, mais je pense que oui. C'est pas si je pense que ce serait correct. All good. I think I'll just end for today. Tomorrow I'm going to do the box model on Flexbox. For the moment, I'm just going to end it like that. Bon, mais c'est correct. Là, je m'arrête pour aujourd'hui et on s'est dit à la prochaine. Bon, parce que là, je sais pas trop si quelqu'un, if someone's looking at me, I'm having like some question, but I'll just end today like that. 2 hours, 6 minutes. It's okay. Bon, c'est tout et c'est fini. On s'est dit demain.